Back in the distant past of 1991, the comic book publisher Dark Horse acquired the rights to create Star Wars-based comic books. Fast forward to the slightly less distant past of 2002, Dark Horse released a three-part miniseries entitled Star Wars Infinities. The idea that each book would contain an alternate version of the original trilogy films. Spoiler alert, they really aren't that different. We begin a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away on the frozen ice world of Hoth. Luke is running around on his hairy dinosaur goat, aka the Tauntaun, when suddenly it stops in fright and makes the weird Tauntaun sound.
Daddy!
Within the blink of an eye, a wampa somehow appears in front of Luke and just kills the Tauntaun. Luke falls to the ground while the wampa lunges towards him and knocks him out. Cut to Echo Base, the current headquarters of the Rebel Alliance. Leia goes to Han and does the whole, "I thought you decided to stay." Han tells her about a bounty hunter he ran into and tells him how he changed his mind. And that's the end of that scene because we go back to an upside-down Luke who is currently hanging in the Wampa Cave. And then we do the whole Luke wakes up, Force grabs his lightsaber, cuts off the Wampa's arm, and skedaddles out of there. Too bad they're on an ice planet of Hoth, because Luke falls over in the snow and starts freezing to death. He has his whole Obi-Wan hallucination scene, but luckily, Han finds Luke by himself. I guess the Tauntaun died, or maybe he never took the Tauntaun or something, I don't know. But anyway, Luke tells Han that Han must go to Dagobah and find Yoda. Without the Tauntaun, Han will never know how bad they smell on the inside, and Luke fucking freezes to death. The end. Yeah, the rebels, they just bury him out back and have a funeral. Everyone's sad, and then Leia asks Han what Luke told him, and he tells her that Luke told him he has to go talk to Yoda and be, something, I don't know. Suddenly, Imperial TIE fighters fly by and fire upon the base. Han beelines it right for the Falcon while Leia takes charge of the rebel leaders and tells them to begin evacuation. Cut to the Battle of Hoth. It's the same thing, except without Luke figuring out how to use the tow cables, there are like at least 3 more AT-ATs. Han, Chewie, Leia, C-3PO, and R2-D2 escape on the Millennium Falcon. Leia starts shouting that Han doesn't know what he's doing, and Han says, "What do you want me to do? Fly into an asteroid field and find a cozy cave to hide in?" Ha! Get it? Cause that's what happened in Empire Strikes Back. Anyway, Han hides behind the Star Destroyer's cockpit. Is that what it's called? The deck? I think it's a deck. Whatever. Yeah. The exact same scene plays out, and they get away and head to Cloud City. But dun. Boba Fett knew he'd be there and follows him, because Boba Fett is a fucking badass. The Millennium Falcon lands in Cloud City and Lando greets them.
Got a lot of guts coming here.
Okay, well, maybe not greets them. Han tells Lando that he's with the Rebellion now and that he's on the run from Jabba. Lando lets them stay because he hates the Empire. Oh, and Han sort of like tells Lando that he's gonna be a Jedi, and Lando just like laughs at him. Lando shows them their room and leaves with Lobot to get to his office, house, place. You know what I think it might be? Is the dining hall that Vader's sitting at in the film. But when Lando opens the door, he's met with none other than Boba Fett. If he played the, like, bad boy in a early 2000s boy band, is that not what he looks like? Just give him a leather jacket and he's good. Boba Fett, being the fucking badass that he is, forces Lando to take him to Han. Lando, it's not, he does not sneakily wink at Lobot, and Lobot's weird cyber earmuffs begin to visibly glow on one side. So, Lando Calrissian, Lobot, and Boba Fett are walking down a hallway. Suddenly, Chewbacca hops around the corner and slams Boba Fett into the ground. And then a bunch of Bespin guards surround him. Boba, again, being a fucking badass, shoots some guards and jetpacks into Han. But Chewie grabs Fett and just, really smashes him against a wall and knocking Boba Fett unconscious. Lando thinks that Fett is working for Jabba, and he warns Han that apparently Fett's boss is on his way. Han asks what they should do with Boba Fett's unconscious body. Chewie wants to kill him, but our dear friend Lando has a much better idea. Lando and Han part ways as the gang hop into the Millennium Machine and leave. And as soon as the Falcon jumps into hyperspace, an Imperial Star Destroyer jumps out of hyperspace, right above Bespin. So, Lando's in his office having a one-sided conversation about his new desk with Lobot when a Bespin guard alerts him that there is a transmission for one Boba Fett, and it was sent by the Empire. Lando freaks out, and then a little tiny blue Vader appears on his desk. Vader demands Lando patches him through to Fett. Lando tells Vader that Fett left unexpectedly, and it is now revealed that Lando froze Boba Fett in carbonite, and Boba Fett's now a desk. Well, there goes being a fucking badass. Anyway, Fett told Vader that Lando would keep Han and friends on Bespin until the Empire arrived. But since that didn't happen, Vader has Cloud City destroyed. As Lando and thousands of Bespinians, Cloud Cityites, whatever, are evacuating, Vader has the ships target the Cloud City's repulsor lift generators and destroy them. With that, Cloud City and all of its denizens fall to their gassy demise, including Lando. Meanwhile, somewhere near Dagobah, Han is talking about how he's gonna be a Jedi, and he's like, oh, this is gonna be great. And Leia's depressed. So Han lands the Falcon, and unlike stupid dead Luke, he lands on land, not in the swamp. Take that, Luke, you're dead. So, Han, Chewie, and Leia trek into the swamp towards some smoke that R2 detected. There they find a puppet show currently in place. Yoda has apparently been expecting them. I assume that he, felt Luke die or something. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, probably felt a disturbance in the Force. He tells them who he is right away, and he doesn't do that whole, oh, Yoda isn't here bullshit, because he needs to get training right away, because the guy's dead. But expecting a different Skywalker, I was. Dun dun dun! Leia's actually gonna be the Jedi. Also, she finds out Luke was her brother and that Vader is her father. Wow, just dropping so many truth bombs on her, Yoda. Jesus. Let her take some of that stuff in before you say other horrible stuff. Anyway, Han gets upset because he thought he was the chosen one, and that Vader's not her father. That's impossible! Hey, somebody has to say it. Oh. And Chewie looks really weird in this panel. It kind of looks like he knows where Leia's head is going to be on the page. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. So Han decides to head to Jabba's to get rid of the bounty on his head since he's not going to be a Jedi anymore. Why not? Then Leia and Han hug one last time as they go separate ways. And then Yoda walks out of his little hut carrying a lightsaber. Whose is it, you may ask? I don't know. It's purple, so I guess Yoda took Mace Windu's bad motherfucker lightsaber. Months later on Dagobah, and I know it's months because unlike the last book, this one actually tells us. Leia's training and wearing this, Jedi garb. At least this one makes more sense than the last book with Luke, because you can actually still see that she's wearing her Hoth jumpsuit underneath, and holy shit, that must get hot. She's in a fucking swamp and she's wearing clothes meant for the snow. Yoda is giving her some speech about the Force while he, Force throws rocks at her and she's sort of cutting them in half with her lightsaber. And Yoda is talking about Anakin and how stubborn he was, but then suddenly a giant fucking caterpillar comes out of literally nowhere. Where was this in the past couple panels? It tries to eat Leia, but she accidentally, I think, slashes the beast when she trips. It explodes. And then Yoda, burns her. Hashtag roasted. Cut to Darth Vader getting pretty angry that he still hasn't found Solo or Luke. There's gonna be something that you'll probably notice. It's all the stormtroopers' helmets in this book are really weird. It's the way that the artist drew the helmet's mouthpiece way too high up and way too close to the eyes. And now all the stormtroopers in this book just look squished and goofy. An Imperial officer informs Vader that his Amazon package of probe droids has arrived, along with some shitty off-brand bounty hunters that we'll never see again. And then we cut to Han, Chewie, R2, and C-3PO arriving on Tatooine, and they immediately get captured and taken to Jabba. Later that night, Han and Chewie are thrown into the Rancor pit, but there is no Rancor. In its place are two Nexu. Nexus, I don't know if that's the actual plural of it, or if it's also Nexu. Those giant weird cats from episode 2 Attack of the Clones that there's one of them in the arena. So R2-D2 fucks with the door controls outside the cage, and frees Han and Chewie along with both the Nexu. And the Nexu rampage through the palace while Han, Chewie, and R2 escape on some weird trash ship. The next day, Darth Vader arrives to find the palace completely destroyed and basically everyone dead. Who do you think would be the first to die? Fat Slug Man, right? Wrong. He just has some big bandages for his boo-boos or something. Vader takes C-3PO with him, and once they get back to his Imperial ship, Vader starts interrogating 3PO for the whereabouts of Skywalker, but eventually Vader just rips off his head and reprograms him to get the location. On Dagobah, Leia is meditating and talking about kyber crystals, which apparently are plants, because Yoda says that he planted their seeds. I guess this explains where he got the lightsaber from, maybe? So, Leia ventures off into the swamp and Yoda sits on a rock all day contemplating stuff until Vader arrives. Darth Vader learns that Luke is dead, and then Yoda, enters Anakin's mind? Since when have Jedi been able to do this? Also, look at this creepy-ass Yoda. Holy shit, I don't like that. This book makes me really uncomfortable. Apparently, Vader's mind is nothing but a Tusken Raider camp he slaughtered. Guess you could say that's because that's when he really fell to the dark side. Vader swings his lightsaber at Yoda, but holy shit, Obi-Wan's Force Ghost memory thing appears and blocks it before being struck down. Holy shit, does this mean he becomes even more powerful than he already was? Cut to Leia in a cave. She, installs her crystal into the lightsaber hilt and, sees Vader and Yoda, standing outside Yoda's house. Back in Vader's mind, Mace Windu, pops up from behind him and attacks him to reveal Episode 2 Hayden Christensen, which makes sense because this book came out around that time. Then Qui-Gon's ghost appears and then slashes him, even more. And then he slashes him until Vader just crumples up into, a cape. And Yoda walks over there. Suddenly, a terrified little kid Anakin, everyone's favorite version of Anakin, appears. He's like, "I'm scared." And Yoda goes to comfort him, only for Anakin to jump scare Yoda with huge black eyes and scream, "Now this is pod racing!" And then suddenly, Darth Vader cuts off Yoda's arm in the real world just in time for Leia to return. Leia and Darth Vader fight and get into this, lightsaber duel, and Vader does his whole,
"We shall rule the galaxy together."
And then he just fucking punches Leia in the face and knocks her over. And as Leia is, looking up at him from the ground in horror because she's about to die, Han and Chewie just fucking shoot him. They both shoot him at the exact same time, and he, flies into a tree or something. Leia gets up and she goes over and she comforts Anakin as he dies. And then he dies. And then she goes over and comforts Yoda, and then he dies. Then they burn Vader's body, most likely causing a forest fire to begin after they leave. As they're walking away, Luke's face appears from the smoke, and he's watching them creepily as they walk away to the Millennium Falcon. And Leia looks over at Han as they're walking, and she says that they have a galaxy to save. The end.